tension is at an absolute premium here. And we're underway. Who will settle first? Rangers trying to mount the first attack, but that's pretty comfortably dealt with. And it'll be picked up by Menglu on this left-hand side. Hay trying to get back with her. Eventually McLaughlin comes back to help out Hay with Leanne Crichton. I know you've had your say down pitch side with Jane, but for my benefit and those who weren't tuned in, how do you see this one going?
I think it'll be a very tight game, Al, if I'm being honest. You mentioned that there's not an awful lot between the sides, certainly hasn't been throughout the season. And I think this one will be no different. It'll be a really tight contest. I think both sides, for different reasons, will be desperate to finish the season on a high. Malky Thompson will have his side drilled, looking to finish his Rangers reign as manager on a high. And Celtic certainly looking to pick up their first silverware of the season. So, as I mentioned, just hopefully for the fans that have turned out today, we see a cracking game.
I wasn't sure pre-match whether Celtic were going to go with what I think is their more usual three at the back, but it doesn't look like they've gone with four in defence, I think, as they did against Hearts, and they've got a bit of defending to do here as Rangers burst forward. The opening goal could obviously be hugely important. Chloe Craig doing well there against the teenage sensation Emma Watson. And Celtic look to play out from the back as well. And one thing the players will definitely have is a lot of space out there in that huge Hampden pitch. Who will that benefit most? Menglu getting the better of McLaughlin, but across comes the Rangers skipper Cathy Hill to see off the danger.
Yeah, you mentioned the formation. Certainly wasn't sure myself, to be honest, throughout the season when I've looked at analysing Celtic. For the most part, they have been that back three. I know a couple of times that they've utilised the four, and it does look like that's the way they've shaped up just now. But they've got that plan B. They know that it's a seamless transition as well, depending on how this game goes, whether they need to change it or not.
Cleared by Clark. Hill just buys the throw in for her side, challenged by Gallagher. How important do you think it was for both these sides to get a feel for Hampden, for especially those who hadn't played on it before in the semi-finals?
Really important, Al. Yeah, no, I think it was the perfect setting, the perfect warm-up, if you like. I know it had been part of that from a Motherwell perspective. It was good to be at the stadium to get that feeling, but then it takes away the uncertainty, the unknown. You've been through it. You know, you've performed well, you've managed to see off your semi-final opponents, and then it tees up the final lovely. So the players would have arrived here today really relaxed, looking forward to the occasion. And as I mentioned, the fans as well, they've certainly, you know, multiplied since the semi-finals as well, which is great to see.
Jacinta's flick forwards, not finding a teammate. I mean, the thing is that both sets of players now also have had the benefit of playing it at Ibrox in Celtic Park, but there's just something a little bit different about the National Stadium, isn't there?
There is, that's it. You know, particularly as a Scottish player, you've grown up. This is the stadium that you know, related to as a young player. I think Rachel mentioned it downstairs. We all grew up as football fans, and this is what we related to in regards to football. So it's been a brilliant season. The fact that the players, as you mentioned, have experienced different stages now. This is what we've become accustomed to, and this is what you would like to think moving forward. This is what the women's game will see, is that games like this, particularly of this magnitude, are played out at the main stadiums. But Hampden Park really is special.
It's Gallagher moving forward. Looked like she might have been fractionally offside, but the flag remains down for the moment. Remember, VAR can get involved as Menglu knocks it into the Rangers box. And eventually the flag does go up, something we have become accustomed to, particularly in the games that VAR is involved in, the flag eventually going up.
Yeah, and it's the perfect example in an instance that playing on the advantage is the correct decision. You then are allowed that freedom as an assistant referee to have that delay and then make the call as play comes to an end, but certainly you wouldn't want to see it halted too soon. Hopefully we don't need to use VAR too often today, though, Al.
Fingers crossed. The VAR this afternoon is Gavin Duncan, assisting on-field referee David Munro. It's Craig. And back with our skipper, Kelly Clark, who lifted the Scottish Cup last season and will be desperate to do likewise. Celtic certainly don't want to end the season without any silverware after what for the most part was a really impressive campaign. And only just missing out on a very first league title.
Yeah, it just shows you how quick, you know, in football last weekend Celtic potentially were looking at a double. You then miss out, you know, there was fine margins. They lose out to Glasgow City with regards to the league title, which, as I said earlier on, it probably adds a bit more pressure to this game for them to ensure that they finish the season with some sort of silverware.
Here's Hay. Puts on the afterburners, but just shows too much of that to Kelly Clark, who read the danger well. McLaughlin was just caught there by Menglu, and it will be a free kick to Rangers in a decent position.
Yeah, it's a good reaction from Rachel McLaughlin. Just to go and lock on the press, look to try and regain possession. Not too much in it, you need to say, just to coming together. As both players strike through the ball. Menglu just caught blindsided. Yeah, she just tweaks her ankle, rolls it ever so slightly.
A chance though for Tessel Middag to try and find a teammate inside that penalty area and test the goalkeeper for the first time. It's into a dangerous area, but just drifting out of play. It was into that area of uncertainty where the keeper wasn't sure whether to come or not, but fortunately for her in the Celtic defence, harmlessly behind. That
was a great delivery. I think somebody's got to gamble and look to get on that. Tess Midag's just lofted it into an area where it is that corridor of uncertainty, but no Rangers player could get on the end of it.
Out of her goal comes Victoria Essen. She and Jenna Fife have swapped roles throughout the season. Is there much to choose between them?
No, not really too much, Al. I would need to say, I think at different games, Malky Thompson's looked at them and looked to try and utilise them. I know it's difficult when you've got two goalkeepers that are probably fairly close in their qualities. I think Essen is perhaps, you know, gets a nod today with regards to the aerial threat that Celtic carry. The amount of cross balls and set pieces we touched on in the build-up, they've got that real threat. So she might be called upon an awful lot today, but I think 21 appearances for Jenna Fife and 16 it was for Victoria Essen up until today.
Yeah, and she's potentially got a test on her hands here as Celtic win their first corner, and across comes Jacinta to take the set piece, and certainly Celtic can be a threat from these positions. And I noticed Malky Thompson acknowledging that that Rangers, perhaps their defensive weakness was at set pieces. I think Jacinta might have to just drag the ball back into the arc, and indeed she does. And here is the delivery, and it's a tricky looking one onto the top of the bar and behind, but certainly Victoria Essen wasn't certain how that was going to land.
Yeah, it was a tricky delivery from Jacinta, a lot of height on it, almost looking to try and put it right in on top of the goalkeeper early on, but she gets too much on it. Victoria Essen does work the feet. She probably would have had it covered when you see it from that angle. Just dips over the bar though.
Pretty even start to the game as we kind of expected, Leanne.
Yeah, it is an interesting press from Celtic there, just looking at the front two with the midfield four tucked in right behind them, forcing Rangers to go long, looking to win it back, and then they've got good numbers higher up the pitch. But it has certainly not much between the sides. Both sets of players just looking to try and get a feel for it. I know in these early minutes of games like this it can be a bit nervy, looking to get used to the pitch as well. I could see a couple of the players perhaps complaining in the warm-up that it was slightly dry, which I know on a day like this when the sun's shining, it probably can be, but I think they had the sprinklers on and put a lot of water on it just before the players came back out for the start of the game.
Free kick goes Celtic's way, the foul by Cornet on Shen there.
Yeah, been an interesting battle in the middle of the pitch in particular, I think, today. Really interested to see that Sam Kerr didn't start for Rangers. Whether that's been a tactical decision with regards to the personnel, but Chelsea Cornet, who gives away the foul, comes in today.
It'll be McInerney to send it in, too close. That one to Essen, a comfortable take for the keeper. Looks to get a Rangers counter started smartly, and it's Hay trying to loft it over the top. Back line, Shen to ensure there was no threat. Again, looks like it might just have been an offside there against Gallagher, but Cathy Hill doing well. And the offside flag again raised.
Yeah, it's a frustration for the players. I think you can see Cathy Hill perhaps just asking the question. No doubt about it, we could see it from up here. Amy Gallagher had just gone half a yard too early.
But one thing it does do, that late flag, is that made those two players run 25 yards or so, which they didn't ultimately have to do. That, you know, in itself is not a massive amount, but cumulatively, yeah, on this pitch, of course,
yeah,
it does.
No, it does. It does, and I think that's the frustration. You've heard a lot of pundits this year, Al, as well, when we watch these games. That, you know, folk that are out reporting on games, you know, asking the assistant referees to make the decision. But I think for them, it's the consistency at times. You know, they're getting used to the fact that play goes on and until almost the attack ends, or it comes to a goal, or whatever it may be. But there's probably moments that you could flag just that little bit earlier to save the players. Also to eliminate risk as well, which I think has been the big question mark this season. Yeah.
But ultimately, the officials are doing what's asked of them under the auspices of VAR. There's a lot of room there for Menglu, and the pass didn't find its way through to her.
Yeah, Tash Flint was just looking. She just got her head up, looked to try and find the pass with the left foot.
It's a loose pass from Davidson. Shen picks the pass. No free kick given there by David Monroe, and a look at it certainly.
No, I would need to agree with him. I think it's a good decision from the referee. Amy Gallagher took the touch. She was almost anticipating contact. I would need to see it back again, but it didn't look like there was much in it. Just a couple of times now, though, that Rangers have been slack in their own final third.
No way through for Hill. Tash Flint dropping really deep at times.
Yeah, a lot deeper than I would be used to seeing her, I would need to say. I expected her to be the player that leads the line. She has such a good outlet.
Neither side able to really stamp their authority on the game as yet, as Hayes tries the diagonal. And Menglu's done well to keep it in, up against McLaughlin, away from her. McInerney, and away by Davidson at the expense of a corner.
Yeah, it was a tackle that she had to make, though. Good ball into a dangerous area. Good play from Celtic, the switch of play from Caitlin Hayes. Lovely ball over the top. Maria McInerney just hooks the ball in with the left foot into an area, dangerous area.
And Jacinta will have another opportunity here to try and test the Rangers back line. Really crowded 6-yard box. Let's see what the delivery's like this time. Keeper hasn't got there. Big chance here for Celtic, and Craig couldn't force it home. But real bedlam in the Rangers 6-yard box, and that's clearly what Celtic are trying to create.
Yeah, it was a real physical battle. This time the delivery's a lot deeper, looking, searching for the back area. Tash Flint keeps it alive, and as you mentioned, Chloe Craig just couldn't divert it. And certainly Caitlin Hayes, she is the threat, though. She is the target a lot of the time. As soon as that ball comes into the box, that's what the Rangers players will be concerned about, the amount of goals that she's scored.
Yeah, aerially Celtic do look the stronger side, don't they? In those situations, Rangers will be keen to minimise the amount of times they give up corners and free kicks in that kind of area.
Well, that's the thing, because it's repetition, and this Celtic side will eventually break you down. The more questions they ask, they do eventually find a breakthrough more often than not.
Well, it took to the 99th minute in a recent game back in March for Celtic to get the equaliser, and it was Caitlin Hayes on that occasion up from the back to cause the threat. But most games have been extremely tight. It was only really the 3-0 victory for Celtic in February where either side showed real dominance of the fixture.
Yeah, there hasn't been much between the sides at all. That scoreline perhaps a surprise one as well in the build-up to it. I don't think many folks seen it coming, but it shows you the strength that Celtic have had at various points this season as well.
Wolf stepping in but losing out. Strikes me that Celtic are just beginning to dominate the ball a little bit.
Yeah, they've certainly had a lot more success, and I mentioned that press when Victoria Essens got the ball. Celtic do commit those numbers forward, at least 5 and 6 players looking to try and lock Rangers in, force them into making mistakes themselves.
Back with Takana, who herself is put under pressure by Cornet. Gets a good clearance away though, helped on by Craig. Another play off Nolf. Amla Takana, the Mexican veteran. Been a really good acquisition for Celtic.
Yeah, she's a huge player for them. Just that experience, Al, I think, is invaluable as well when you look at the Celtic side, and a number of young players that have been brought in this season as well. She gives the defence a confidence to play and want to express themselves.
Free kick goes Rangers' way. Takana, Cornet it's been pulled back, I think.
Yeah, initially the touch just gets caught under her feet. Certainly not too much again. Just the late contact from Gallagher.
Here's Hill, flighting it towards the back post. Craig gets first contact, and then Jacinta trying to move forward. Knowles doing just enough to stop her. Jacinta stayed down. Rangers continue in possession. The Celtic fans are looking for the free kick. Jacinta gets back to her feet as Rangers come forward. Dangerous looking ball in. Knowles, well advanced, tries to bring it under control, and eventually hacked clear by Shen.
Another offside.
Gone,
I think it might have been for Emma Watson initially on that far left-hand side. It had looked as if she had, again, just strayed marginally offside.
David Monroe just signalling for Pamela Takana to hold on momentarily, as there was a seemingly very quick VAR check, which is clearly already done and dusted. It's flicked on by Flint. Scored that wonderful header against Hearts last week, and she's so dangerous. It's been another great signing for Celtic in the second half of this season. And will surely have a part to play this afternoon.
She will, no doubt, Al, but I'm really surprised that she is playing as deep as she is, knowing Tash Flynn, the type of player that she is, the problems that she's caused since arriving in January. She's much more of a threat when she's higher up the pitch. She gives Celtic normally that link, middle to front. She allows then the players in the wide areas to get in and around her. Players like Jacinta can play off her. Just right now, I don't see Celtic utilising Tash Flynn as much as they possibly could.
Shane, that's a dangerous pass, but ultimately she measures it to perfection. And here's McInerney out to Menglu. It's Hay who's back there, having to do some defensive duties, and she does them very well. And tries to move forward at pace. Menglu coming back to try and retrieve possession. Midag offers herself in the middle of the park. Still she's free, and now she gets it. A bit unable to keep control of the ball, and it's really important that she's able to do a bit better when the ball comes up to her like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Brogan Hay initially really good defensive work in an area of the pitch that you would much rather see her in the opposite end, but she's doing that job for the team just now. She's matching Menglu really well on that right-hand side, left-hand side for Celtic. Both sides just struggling to find that focal point up top, you would need to say, to really go and play off and create anything clear-cut. The majority of play is in the middle third of the pitch.
I think Rangers are just trying to still get to grips with Celtic's formation, because it is a little bit unorthodox from any other time I've seen them play. As we've discussed, Flint's playing a lot deeper. Jacinta certainly looking out on that right-hand side, but Gallagher's playing very advanced.
Yeah, but again,
channel.
With Jacinta, she's a player that centrally she causes so many problems. She looks isolated at times just now. She's not getting as much involvement in the game as she would probably like.
Craig doing well there against Watson, who's clearly a threat. And now finding Jacinta, who has a chance to run at Midag and gets away from her with a change of pace, but the Dutch midfielder does well to get back at her. Celtic throw though.
I can only assume that they've put Jacinta over on that far side to go 1v1 up against Maddie Nolf. She is a right-footed player playing at left back, so you've got that vulnerability right away. Whether they've identified that as a weakness in the Rangers back line.
Caitlin Hayes with plenty of time to think about her next pass, but she can't find a teammate. Eventually it finds its way out to Menglu though, who was the initial target, and that's a dangerous looking ball in as Davison goes back and almost turns it into her own net. Victoria Essen was scrambling.
Yeah, Davison does really well. I think she's injured herself with that challenge and that block certainly. But it was good play from Celtic. Initially the ball doesn't quite make it. Rachel McLaughlin defends with a header into the middle of the pitch, but because of the numbers that Celtic have got in and around it, they immediately win it back. They find the ball in that left hand side, and it's another opportunity for Celtic to try and wear Rangers down.
Jacinta to try again. Again, there's so many bodies inside that 6-yard box. Can Celtic find a way to go? Good hand from Essen that time to just claw it away, but still Celtic have it. And it's Shane to return it. That's a good ball, but too close to the keeper ultimately, and good hands again from Essen.
Yeah, it's good play from the Rangers goalkeeper. A couple of moments, testing moments as well. It's exactly what you want as your goalkeeper, just to take the pressure off the team. We mentioned those moments defensively for Rangers. They'll be tough. Celtic so strong from set pieces. Malky Thompson will be desperate for the side just to find the ball for even a couple of minutes, Al, just to get a bit of rhythm into the game. It's very stop-start for Rangers just now. We spoke in the build-up, the threat that Rangers have got in the wide areas. And you've got Emma Watson there, Brogan Hay. We know the threat that they carry, but thus far in the game they've not really been able to ask any questions of Celtic.
Here's McLean though. Out to Watson, Celtic claiming for offside. No flag yet as Watson delivers to the back post. And it will be a goal kick.
I think Celtic were expecting the offside, but I've got a feeling that O'Riordan might have been slightly deeper in this left back area.
highlights of the bottom six and the unravelling of the final day of the Premiership, 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel. And we'll find out today who will play in that Premiership playoff against Partick Thistle. We'll have highlights of the final Thursday at 11 o'clock in the evening on the BBC Scotland channel. Again, Partick Thistle against 11th in the Premier. Still awaiting the first goal at Hampden as McLaughlin goes back the way for Davison. Celtic and Rangers haven't really threatened Takenar's goal at all so far. Celtic's threat has largely come from set pieces. Chelsea Cornet still in possession. Back it goes to Hay. Pretty harmless though from her.
That was an opportunity for Rangers to go and test Celtic. Brogan Hay just, I felt, rushed the delivery. I thought she could have probably stood her player up, looked to try and get to the byline. A scrappy game so far.
It's certainly been a long, hard season for these players. And it can be quite natural that this type of occasion can take out of you as well, but they'll be looking to lift themselves one last time. As Craig plays it forward. Hill doing well though. And it's Gallagher who's stayed down, is it? Under the challenge. Rangers continue. Here's Watson. A couple of goals here against Costa Rica on our Hampden debut recently. What a season it's been for her. Still been heavily linked, I noticed, with Man United in particular.
Yeah, I think they're a club that have looked at her previously and will continue to monitor the development of Emma Watson, certainly. Kirsty McLean in there as well today. Real top operators for the age of them. And it has been a long season now, you're right. Both sets of players have given absolutely everything. International games thrown in there as well. They'll be looking forward to a break after today.
Amy Gallagher needing some treatment here as a result of this coming together there with Cathy Hill. Pretty innocuous looking, but hopefully Amy Gallagher able to recover.
I think she's just caught herself off balance. Just the way she's landed. Looks as if she's maybe rolled that ankle.
A couple of Scottish Cup medals to her name already. Amy Gallagher, she won't want to be going off, and Celtic won't want her to go off. She's been very important. Nominated for Women's Player of the Year this season.
Yeah, she's been a big player for them. I think at this stage in any game you don't really want to be forced into what would be seen as an early change. Try and save the energy and the fresh legs for the latter stages of the game.
You really wouldn't put it past this game to go to extra time and maybe even penalties, so well matched are the sides. Almost half an hour in and no sign of a goal as yet.
You just feel it's a game though that does need an injection of energy. Even a chance, an opportunity, a goal would be lovely.
Amy Gallagher's back on certainly for the moment. Hopefully okay to continue as Hayes is put under pressure by Howitt. Holds her off with good strength. Menglu and Jacinta have swapped wings, trying to find a way to really test the Rangers' back line. Jacinta closing Cathy Hill down. The Rangers captain aware of her presence. Back to the keeper it goes. It's a good jump. And Rangers will come forward. McLaughlin well advanced, gets on to Cornet's pass. Chance to cross, looks too close to the keeper, and it's a good take from Takenar. You expect a bit better from McLaughlin there.
Yeah, the goalkeeper does well though. just those types of moments again early on. You want the goalkeeper to come and make a statement and give the team the confidence. I spoke about Rangers and the threat that they carry in the wide areas. It won't be the first and it won't be the last time that Rachel McLaughlin asks those types of questions, albeit the delivery could have been a bit better.
Shane, a good ball out to Jacinta, who's really hugging this left touchline right now. Forced back away, and then makes the run as Clark looks to find her in behind. She's away from McLaughlin. Jacinta, can she pick out a teammate in the middle? Hill again, it's just scrambled behind at the risk of knocking it into her own net, Cathy Hill, but it is behind for a corner. Celtic certainly looking the more dangerous side in the attack.
Yeah, good play again, and it's a ball over the top causing the problem. The pace that Celtic carry, it's always going to be a good option. I actually thought Jacinta initially could have gone it herself, but the second touch that she takes inside the box just takes her marginally too wide. It's well defended from Rangers again.
Sulian's delivery. Again, it's well dealt with, to be fair, to the Rangers keeper and back line. And Rangers will try and counter. It's just a heavy touch there. Watson was in a good position. Here comes Celtic again. Jacinta dancing her way in field. Can't pick out a teammate though. Hill knocks it forward. Not entirely sure why the officials felt the need to bring that back for the offside with Rangers in possession.
No, I think those are the types of moments that you just play on. You know, I think there's a fair few things have happened since the offside, or just call it early, as we spoke about.
Here's Menglu picking up on the pass from Craig. Rangers have it back to Cornet, finds its way to Watson, and then Maddie North. Kirsten McLean, as Deanne said, another promising teenager coming through the ranks at Rangers. Out it goes to Hay. Up against Riordan. Not the best pass in the world, but McLean makes the most of it. And Watson won't catch that, but she's got a favour from the corner flag. And it is ultimately a goal kick.
Yeah, she looked as if she'd given it up. A bit of luck, it comes back off the corner flag, which sometimes it does in those moments. Just doesn't get the break of the ball. Emma Watson eventually ends up out for the goal kick. I'm just looking at this game again, Alan. I really cannot work out why Tash Flint is playing in the role that she is. I actually think just now she's so ineffective for Celtic because it's not her natural position. I don't really see her involved too much. Only thing I can think of is that she's been put in there to be more of a physical presence up against the likes of Tess Medag, but just right now I don't think you're getting the best out of Tash Flint or Amy Gallagher.
Yeah, you can almost understand it if Tash Flint was playing a big role in that almost central midfield position that she is, but she's barely getting on the ball.
No, she's had real, little involvement, and that will frustrate her because she's a player that likes to be at the centre of things. She likes to be influencing the game. She wants to be scoring goals, creating opportunities, and so far we're 34 minutes into this game, and she's had very little input.
10 goals in her 16 appearances since moving up on loan from Leicester in January, including the winner against Glasgow City here in the semi-final. She was the top scorer for Leicester as they won promotion to the top flight, the WSL, a couple of years back. She certainly knows her way to go, but she hasn't had a look at it so far this afternoon. Time yet. Celtic probably feel they've been marginally the better side without forcing any huge saves from Essen, other than from the corner kicks really from Jacinta on this left-hand side. That's been the only real threat on the Rangers' goal, but at the other end there's been even less.
Yeah, very little. Might be a tough half-time for the girls downstairs if we don't get a couple of chances before half-time out. It was always going to be a close encounter though, both sides. Players, you don't want to make a mistake, you don't want to give anything away.
Yeah, it's high stakes, that's for sure. Corner it back to McLaughlin. And now Middag, bit of space for her. Looking to find Howitt. Kay doing likewise and almost sneaking it through. But Celtic managed to break up play once more, and it's Menglu out on that far side. Craig looking to lift it over the top. Clark for Jacinta. It's a nice looking ball forward. McInerney threatening Rangers there. Good play ultimately from McLean. Here's Menglu driving infield away from North. Davison looking to hold it up. Good challenge from the centre back. Celtic have it back. It's Craig's ball in. Confusion in the Rangers defence there. Eventually dealt with by McLaughlin, and she was fouled by Jacinta and earns her side a free kick.
Yeah, it was good persistent play from Celtic though. Again, they've been the side that have looked to try and ask those questions of Rangers. I think Jacinta's just a little bit late, and Rachel McLaughlin, just as she clears the ball, just catches her off balance. Prods in her foot, I think. No further action.
Both sides do have excellent defensive records over the course of the league season. Rangers with the best, conceding just 9 goals in their 32 games, and Celtic only a couple more, as well as being the league's top scorers with 115. So, well, they've got goals in them, we've just not seen that yet, but certainly defensively we know that they're pretty sound, both sides.
Yeah, and that's why for probably huge parts in this game they'll just cancel each other out. Certainly in the second half you would expect, you know, both sides to be a bit braver, a bit more direct. Even Rangers, I've mentioned the attacking threat that they've got in those wide areas. I don't really think they've used the width of the pitch well enough in this first half. They've not got Brogan Hay on the ball and Emma Watson in areas that they can stand up their opponents in a 1v1 situation. You would imagine that would be part of the team talk at half-time from Malky Thompson.
Flint looking to switch the play there, but couldn't reach Menglu with a pass. Both sides have spent most of the first half really sizing the other up. Here Rangers trying to break Celtic down for the first time. Craig deals with the danger well there. It's a very sensible clearing header, and then Menglu gets it further up the park, albeit not to a teammate. Rangers will be looking to test Takenara at least once before the half-time whistle goes, and they might try and do so here. It's a good run, but then just couldn't get it out of her feet there. He picks up, back to McLaughlin. Cross is charged down, claims for handball, nothing given. Another good pass from Shane. And here's Flint. She's gone for goal there. That is massively ambitious. Especially in a park of this size.
It would have been one way to light this game up out.
Yeah.
Slightly adventurous.
Davison stepping forward. Oh, it's almost a perfect pass for McLaughlin. Still does find its way to the fullback. He picks out the pass for Howitt. She's got very little to aim at in the middle there. And Celtic clear the lines. And just not getting bodies forward insufficient number.
No, it doesn't look like the way that Rangers would normally attack, Al. To be fair, it's pretty dysfunctional when you think it's Kirsty Howitt that's looking to try and put the ball in the box. She's the player that you want inside the penalty area. She's the player that scores goals, causes those types of problems.
And that's tame from Watson as well, who really hasn't been able to affect the game thus far.
Just those types of moments, those transitional moments when Rangers have won it back, they look a little bit rushed, just like they're perhaps forcing things, but it does happen when you've not had too many opportunities. You feel like you need to then force it to try and create things. Just a little bit more patience and perseverance.
Here's Shane, chance to get the head up and lift it forwards for Menglu. But Essen there. First out of play for a Celtic throw-in. 5 minutes until the interval. Still we await the breakthrough. And looks more and more like the first goal could yet be the decisive one in the Scottish Cup final. It was a 0-0 earlier in the season, back in November. The last game was 1-0 to Rangers. It was Kirsty Howitt who won it on that occasion, so goals can be tough to come by in these fixtures. Doing well to keep possession for Celtic, and another semi-dangerous ball into the box, but again Essen able to gather.
She's not had too much to do in this half, but she's dealt with it in the moments that she's been asked. Just that lack of quality again from Celtic.
Right, looking for Watson. Craig though intervenes. He's taking a chance. Celtic looking to break the deadlock ahead of the interval. It's Jacinta who's looked as dangerous as anyone. Another comfortable take for Essen, who, as I mentioned, should be in the New Zealand squad, which heads down under for the World Cup this summer, Leanne, albeit probably not his first choice.
Yeah, you would expect it to be included in that squad, Al, no doubt. While other players head off for a break, it won't be that for her.
Davidson's been robbed by Shen. Shen in with the chance for Celtic. Can she get the first goal? Drags the shot wide. The first real opening of the final. And Shen, to Fran Alonso's disbelief, couldn't find the back of the net.
I think it was to Shen's disbelief as well. I don't think she can believe her luck that she manages to dispossess Hannah Davison. She's then looking for someone to pass to. I don't think she was really filled with confidence. I would need to say she does so well, forces a mistake, dispossesses Davidson. You see her just glance there, she's looking to try and square the ball so that another player is get a tap into an empty net, and she just gets it all wrong. But what a huge chance that is. 44 minutes in the half. It would have been a horrible time for Rangers to concede, and a perfect time for Celtic to grab that opener.
Yeah, she just didn't look confident, even though she was driving down on goal. She was looking for options, wasn't she, rather than taking the shot on, and when she realised there was no support, she had to go for it. And Shen, who scored the opening goal in last season's final, could not do likewise at what might have been a really crucial time as well.
It would have been a huge time to grab that goal just before half-time. Also to force a mistake, and what would have been an error on Rangers' part would have really killed their confidence.
Into the 1 minute added on at the end of the half. And Celtic passing up a really good opportunity to go in at half-time with the advantage in a match that has been really short on chances, to say the least. Here's Howard. Looking for the free kick, but nothing doing there. Been doing rather easily. David Monroe stopping the game now because she's holding her face, but looked to just be good strength there.
Yeah, I don't think there's much in it. I'll get another look at it. I think Kirsty Howard just leans in. Clara Riordan. Yeah, her arms up across her chest. Be very surprised if there's anything else to be looked at here.
No, absolutely nothing in it. And half-time whistle goes. Goalless Hampden in Sunshine. Jacinta has been a bit of a threat, you'd have to say, from set pieces more than anything else, but Victoria Essence managed to deal with those corner kicks. But it was Shane who had a glorious opportunity just a minute before the end of the first half, but dragged a shot wide when clear on goal. Consoling arm around the shoulder from Caitlin Hayes as they go down the Hampden tunnel. But just 3 points between the sides in the league ultimately. Celtic finishing second and qualifying for the Champions League. Rangers just missing out on that. But clearly there is so little between the two sides. They have cancelled each other out in the second period. Would you imagine both sides will be a bit more adventurous second half?
You would expect so, Al. I think to a point Celtic certainly had the better in terms of possession and final third entries, if you like, with a huge chance just in the stroke of half-time. So I think they'll look to try and just probably fine-tune that bit of quality and look, you know, to capitalise on the set-piece opportunities that they've had as well. I think Rangers are probably the side that really need to put it together a bit more with regards to possession, stretching. Celtic looking to try and use the width of the pitch. I don't think they've managed to do that yet. I know Jane mentioned that at half-time there Sam Kerr was out warming up. I would expect to see her at some point in this half if she's fit and available. You know, I think within the next 15-20 minutes you could see her influence in the game, and that would just give you, as Rachel had mentioned, a bit more mobility in the middle of the pitch. She gives you really good energy, middle to front. But either way, you know, one of these sides has got to roll the dice if they want to take home that Scottish Cup tonight.
First yellow card of the match for Shane to add to her late miss in the first half. She's now picked up a yellow for the pull back there on corner. It's good work from Jacinta. Really good endeavour, and then pokes it forward for Gallagher. Celtic certainly, as well as not having made any substitutions, still persisting with Tash Flint playing in that much deeper role than we're used to seeing her.
Yeah, which I'm surprised at. I really thought that that would have been something that at half-time Celtic would have looked to try and change. I mentioned that focal point. I don't think either side have really managed to create that. For me, you would get a bit more out of Amy Gallagher if you drop her in and you put Tash Flint up top and give Celtic that focal point to link the game. Even Jacinta, you know, moving into a more central area, she certainly causes so many problems.
Indecision there at the back from Takana, and eventually able to smother the ball, but just hearts and mouths there for those of a Celtic bent inside Hampden. Davison, who will look to put that mistake on the stroke of half-time behind her, not looking entirely convincing a moment ago, but makes the interception there. Wolf just sees that one out of play. Davison will be thanking her lucky stars that Shen was unable to hit the target with the opportunity she gifted her just before the break.
No doubt she would have been relieved to get in at half-time. Certainly with both sides still level. A big moment in the game. Just a moment or so ago, looking at the press from Celtic, I had highlighted it in the first half, Alan. I thought they were lots more aggressive, pushing numbers forward, looking to try and enforce those mistakes from Rangers. Slightly more reserved now. They've dropped off them slightly, more into a kind of mid-block shape.
You can see our vantage point's a terrific one, Leanne. You can see the shape really well. It looks like Celtic are kind of 4-1-4-1 now.
Yep.
Shen, the deepest of the midfielders.
Yeah, absolutely. Just that link again from back to middle. I think Celtic, you know, they're a strong side that are out there just now. Not to discredit any of them, but I think Natalie Ross is a huge loss for them. The injury that she sustained just towards the tail end of the season, her missing today, her presence, she gives you that. Yeah, well, she was. Naturally, she would have missed it, but she's got that injury as well, which ruled her out for the season. And I think it's been telling in some of the performances. She just gives him that little bit different in the middle of the pitch, where she can put the boot in and play. She breaks up play, but she's a good ball player as well. She keeps things ticking really nicely. Probably an unsung hero this season.
McLean gets the pass off. It's a heavy touch from Hay. She's certainly not hit the heights that she's capable of so far in the game. Celtic conceding the corner. Kelly Clark forced into the error.
Yeah, she's frustrated there to concede that corner, and it's a poor bit of play from Celtic. I think initially Clark was hoping that Ariadne would go all the way back to the goalkeeper, but the press was on from Rangers. It certainly wasn't on.
Short corner eventually swung in. Celtic clear the lines.
It's an accidental coming together. Tash Flint just takes a sore one. I think it was a hand across the face, but certainly from where we see it up here. Get a better look at it now, hopefully off the replay. Maddie Nolf it is. Yeah, it doesn't look great, I would need to say, back on the replay. I think Maddie Nolf just looks to try and push Tash Flint off, but
VAR have had a look at it and the check is complete, but it did look a deliberate hand to the face, certainly. Probably not enough for a red card, in which case VAR can't intervene. You could argue it was worthy of a yellow, but VAR, as we know, Leanne, can't instruct the referee to retrospectively issue the yellow.
No, exactly. And I do think Maddie Nolf that there wasn't intent there to hurt Tash Flint. I think the way she's looked at it as the two players come together is she's just looked to try and kind of brush her off. She thought she was maybe going to continue her run in towards it, but she gets it wrong, and certainly the contact was slightly higher than she would have liked. It's these types of moments as well that with the inclusion of VAR today, that you need to get used to the fact that these checks will be ongoing throughout as well. The referees won't miss much.
Rangers have won it back in a dangerous situation. What can they create here? It's McLean. Snuffed out though, and here's Jacinta. Celtic looking to get bodies forward in support. Cut out by Hill. And Flint had gone offside. She had got herself into an advanced position for once in the game. That flagged off.
Yeah, she had. Actually thought she had timed it just right. No, you can see it there. She's certainly gone a fraction early. But it's those types of areas, and I think just the physical presence that she has as well, she would be more of a handful for Cathy Hill and Hannah Davison. Look at the positioning of Tash Flint just now. She's practically sat in a number 6 position.
Davison, she made some good ground up there and then checked back, and she's hurt herself. And I think Jacinta's well offside, even though the pass to her wasn't a great one. And again, goalkeepers taking chances. It was Victoria Essen there. But I think Jacinta would have been flagged off, even if Essen had made more of a mess in it than she did. Celtic come again though, quick throw in. Out of play from Midag.
Yeah, I would agree out. I think it would have been another offside call. Certainly this second half is kind of continued on the way the first half finished. Just a little bit scrappy. Celtic probably just having a bit more of the game than Rangers.
We are going to get a Celtic change, but it won't happen, I don't think, before this corner kick, where they'll look to take the initiative in the game. Once again, it's an extremely crowded 6-yard box, and the ball is thrown in, and it's another deep one, and Essen can't quite reach it, but Rangers do get it clear.
Vic Essen does well again, just gets enough on it just to take the pressure off our side. Poor bit of play from Celtic there in possession, wastefully with the ball out of play.
Here's Watson, good position, slides it forward for Nolf. Just too much on it, and it's knocked out of play. And Kelly Clark. Rangers find themselves in a good position, but couldn't take advantage of it. Final ball hasn't been good enough.
Yeah, it was better play from Kirsty McLean, turning creator, just travelling with the ball, looking to try and make things happen, which is exactly what Rangers need. Very little supply, as Kirsty Howitt had up top.
It's Kit Lafersky who's going to come on for Celtic.
I think she might be the type of player that this game needs out, to be honest. Real blistering pace, a real good attacking threat. Just gives Celtic something different than what they've got just now.
So the first change of the game, and it's the end of the game for young Maria McInerney. Going across over to the far side, and on will come Kit Lafersky. Will go up top for Celtic.
You just wonder if Celtic might change the approach that they're looking to try and find that out ball, as I mentioned, with the pace of Lafersky. An involvement straight away. Good play from Celtic.
And it's Jacinta, good first touch. Into the area she goes, but like Shen before her, drags the ball away beyond the far post, and you'd expect better from a player of her calibre.
Yeah, you would. Brilliant build-up play from Celtic. A real strong opportunity for them. I think she's caught in two minds, whether that's a shot come cross or not. It's neither in the end. Doesn't work the goalkeeper and doesn't find Lafersky at the back post. Big opportunity again for Celtic.
Davison just keeping an eye there on a Celtic player who's trying to make inroads, but Essen quickly off her line to deny Lafersky an early opportunity having come on.
Yeah, I think she'll have been sent on with the intent right away to go and try and cause Rangers different types of problems. Don't give them a second. And just inject a bit of energy into the players that are already on the pitch.
Still very much anyone's game. This cat and mouse continues. The chances that have come really have come Celtic's way. That one from Jacinta, maybe not much more than a half a chance, but certainly we've seen over the course of this season she's more than capable of scoring from that type of opportunity.
Yeah, I think the end product that we've grown accustomed to see from Jacinta, we can expect better than that last chance. At a minimum, she's got to be working the goalkeeper. And it perhaps just shows the type of game it's been for her, though she hasn't been overly involved. She's had a couple of moments, yes, set pieces. She's been the provider in terms of the corner kicks for Celtic. But it's not the type of game. She's normally one of these players that's in the thick of it, in the middle of the pitch. She links the game. She starts the attack. And as you mentioned, she more often than not finishes it as well.
Ticking towards the hour mark, and still no sign of a goal to separate this pair to Glasgow rivals. Fed forward for Jacinta once more. Back goes Davison. Sure, a good turn of pace and a strong sliding challenge to concede the corner. A good backtracking, certainly.
Yeah, it was a challenge that Davidson had to make. Jacinta just turning on the burners, forces another corner. And the way this game's going, might be the most likely opportunity for us to see a goal out. Different type of delivery this time.
And it goes though. Shen heads it back into the danger area after Essen managed to work it clear. Into the Rangers box it comes, struggling to get it properly clear. Eventually Midag does knock it well up to the halfway line. Just wonder if Malky Thompson is thinking imminently about a change, because it does feel to me that if anyone's going to get a goal, the more likely looking side at the moment is Celtic.
Yeah, it does look that way out. I would need to agree. Looking at Lizzie Arnott out there warming up just now, Nicola Docherty's out there, Sam Kerr. I think at a minimum you would expect to see Sam Kerr. I mentioned that just after half time, and the way the game's going, it just looks to me like they need that energy. She'll go and ask questions as well of a defence. Sam, she'll stretch the game. Not only does she work hard out of possession, she's that player that will go and stretch a back line, which then creates a bit more space for the likes of Kirsty Howitt to come and play, Kirsty McLean, Emma Watson, Brogan Hay.
Jacinta to try again. Clipped into another dangerous area, and Essen falling back the way he just throws the ball clear. I think she was probably concerned she was falling back over her line. And although she probably wasn't, it's pretty alert goalkeeping to have the mind to even think of doing that.
Yeah, I think she lost her bearings, Al, when she was mid-flight, as you say. I don't think she knew how close she was. That's probably where she needs Kirsty McLean just to be really speaking to her, letting her know that she was okay and she was comfortable.
She'll hope this corner subsequently comes to nothing. But Jacinta will curl it in once more. Essen with a fingertip to it. This time she's dealt really quite well with all those deliveries from Jacinta. Celtic again looking to try and test the Rangers keeper, but that one comes to nothing.
Yeah, Rangers can be thankful for their goalkeeper this far, because she really has taken the pressure off the defenders in these types of moments. We spoke about it, Caitlin Hayes, Clara Riordan, Chloe Craig, Kelly Clark, all very good in the air. So far, Rangers have really limited them. It's down to their goalkeeper. Strong hand more often than not.
Here comes Celtic again. This is dangerous looking. It's Lefersky into the area. She gets pulled back there. It's a good covering challenge. And again, it's Davison showing her pace to come across and cover because Lefersky was away.
Yeah, Rangers do well at the second bite, but it was brilliant play from Celtic. It's the asset, it's the threat that Lefersky carries. Just that touch initially was too heavy. Just doesn't give herself a chance to get the shot off, but Davison, a remarkable recovery to come and help out. Our centre-back pairing and Cathy Hill.
And Hill was sitting and beating for pace. Here's Jacinta curling another one in. Again, Essen gets something on it, but not enough, and it's in! And Celtic have the deserved breakthrough, and it's Tash Flint, who else, who hammers it home. Fran Alonso celebrates along with the Celtic faithful. It's Celtic 1, Rangers 0.
Well, if there was ever going to be a player that was going to make the difference today, it was Tash Flint. We've spoken so much about her, but we've spoken about the fact that she's had such little impact in the game, the position that she's playing. But we've spoken about these set-piece threats, we've spoken about the corners, the deliveries. And when you persistently ask questions, Essen does well again. She gets a hand hit in the first offering. She takes the pressure off, but Rangers just don't deal with it in that second phase. And Tash Flint's a player that's switched on. She's in there. She causes problems. The first touch is brilliant. The second touch is in the back of the net. And you've got to say that the goal really has been coming. There's no doubt Celtic have had the lion's share of this second half. And it's now over to Rangers to try and strike back. But what a hugely important goal from Tash Flint. She really has been a wonderful signing for Celtic since she arrived in January. She's proven her worth again.
It's her third goal in the Scottish Cup to add to an injury time strike in the 5-1 win over Hearts and the winner against Glasgow City. And now it's all kicking off as tempers fray somewhat. Cathy Hill heavily involved.
Yeah, she's picked up a yellow card now. She just needs to walk away. Cathy Hill, she's the Rangers captain. She doesn't need to be getting involved in anything. Perhaps she's looking to try and provoke a reaction from her teammates. Perhaps get the fans going in that far side. But certainly not what Rangers are needing just now.
Yellow card shown to the Rangers captain. Certainly frustration and arguably a bit of petulance there. Looked pretty needless, but the Rangers really haven't turned up in this game as yet. And it's another free kick Celtic's way.
Yeah, this time it's Davison. She just arrives late. No doubt about it that it was a foul. I really am surprised out. I'm looking at the Rangers technical area and there's no movement with regard to a substitution. Jodie McCleary, the only player out there just now, which I know she might be a young player that could be introduced, but I think when you've got experience in the likes of Sam Kerr and Nicola Doherty, I really am surprised that they're not going to be introduced into this game.
Well, Lizzie Arnott's a player who knows that stadium pretty well. She's got goals about her. She's certainly capable of being a threat, but Sam Kerr in the centre there, your picture, and as Leanne says, no real activity there. They trail with a quarter of the game remaining, and it's Celtic who look to add to their advantage here from another corner kick. Jacinta once more sends in, glanced on and in, and Celtic double their advantage, and it's O'Riordan this time who has put them within touching distance of retaining their trophy. delight among those young fans as Celtic, in the space of a couple of minutes, got 2 goals to the good.
That's a huge goal. There's another huge moment in this game, and it comes again from a set piece. Celtic are so strong. This time Essen, she gets herself caught up. She actually bundles into her own player, and there's that collision, takes her out of the game. She's unable to affect it, but what a good glancing header it is from Clara Riordan. The only thing she's looking to try and do there is make sure that the ball goes towards goal, and it goes one better. It nestles in the back of the net. There's nothing that Tess Medag could do about it. Fran Alonso goes crazy in the touchline, as he always does. And they really have taken full control of this game now.
Rangers are going to make a couple of changes, but it might be too late. They've mustered virtually nothing in the game up to this point. And Celtic very much in the driving seat as Watson tries to do something about that. Taken down by Craig, and Rangers will at least have a free kick in a decent position.
That could be a big opportunity, this. The first chance that Rangers have really had to ask questions of Celtic. They don't carry the same aerial threat, I would need to say, particularly when you look at the fact Tess Medag is over the ball. She's a player that carries a bit of height and stature in that Rangers side. You do have the likes of Davison and Cathy Hill in there. Chelsea Cornet is also fairly decent in there.
It will be Medag to help it towards the back post, but the Celtic backline deal with it. Jodie McCleary and Lizzie Arnott are the players who are waiting to come on as Lefersky uses her pace to cause McLaughlin some issues, and certainly her introduction really has helped change the game.
Yeah, it has. It really has. It's given Celtic that outlet. It's one ball over the top, and the pace that she's got really does force Rangers into defending the situation.
And Brogan Hay and Emma Watson are the players who are making way for McCleary and Arnott. So changes on either flank for Rangers. And, Lizzie Arnott certainly a player who we've seen over the years for Scotland, stepping up on some big occasions. So I've been disappointed not to start, and can she make an impression in the closing 20 minutes and drag her team back into it?
The thing is with those 2 changes, Alex, 2 changes really up top for Rangers. It's off both sides, but the issue for Rangers is middle to front, that they've not had enough in terms of the quality and the supply to those front players. That's why I would have thought the introduction of Sam Kerr would have been one that Malky Thompson would have looked at, to be that link player, to give you something. It certainly is a big ask for Lizzie Arnott and young Jodie McCleary to come in and get their side back in the game.
You would have to suspect there's a reason that Sam Kerr's not coming on, and wonder if she's perhaps not fully fit and is really only making up the numbers on the bench, because it's otherwise really curious that she's not A, starting, and B, got involved.
Yeah, she's been the top performer this season, in my opinion. She's been a player at the heart of everything that Rangers have been able to do, the way that they play. The fact that she's been out warming up for the most part of the game would tell me that she's fit and available. I could be wrong, but certainly if you were a player that was carrying an injury, you would probably just keep yourself sat on the bench.
Yep. Celtic looking for a clean sheet. Davison for Medag, who tries to test Takanar, but wide of goal.
It's a team effort by Tess Medag standard. She is a player that's caused problems. She's scored a number of goals from outside the box in her career, certainly this season as well, but that one's way off target.
Lovely held up by McLaughlin. Taylor Otto is going to come on for Celtic. And Amy Gallagher. It'll be a special moment for her if she goes and lifts the Scottish Cup with Celtic. Her great grandfather was Patsy Gallagher, the Celtic legend, and having come in from Hibs, she has really endeared herself to the Celtic fans with some excellent performances, and she gets a break for the closing 16.5 minutes. And Rangers are going to make another change as well, and it's Laura Berry who will come on. Still no Sam Kerr, and it's Midak who's replaced.
Certainly is an interesting couple of changes from a Rangers perspective. And Celtic just looking to add some fresh legs to the team. They're in absolute control of this game, no doubt about it.
Yeah, if Celtic don't see this out, they will be absolutely furious with themselves, because they have been the better side, you'd have to say. It wasn't a massive amount in the first half, but you did feel that they were the better team, and certainly in this second period they've been the dominant one. Yeah,
they've continued on in that first half. It was a scrappy first half, probably a scrappy 10 minutes or so at the beginning of the second half, but Celtic have controlled it. Certainly I haven't looked at the stats with regards to possession, but I would say that they've more than edged it. They've created more chances, they've had more shots at goal, they've had more corners. They've been the team that have been searching, certainly for the breakthrough, and they managed to find that twice in quick succession. It's been a really controlled performance. We spoke about Leferski. She's a change that in an introduction into the game that certainly has changed it for Celtic in this second half. She's just opened things up a little bit more than Maria McInerney had managed to do in her influence in the game.
Celtic chairman Peter Lawwell has seen plenty of success at the club down the years. Davison. Well, he said about that the better. They really have been short of ideas this afternoon, Rangers.
They have out, no doubt about it. Just really lacking a structure and intensity to their play. Everything's just been a bit slow. No real kind of clear patterns of play and how they look to build the game. No focal point in their use of Kirsty Howitt up top. And no real quality off the sides, which is a big bit for me. We had identified that as a huge strength. Normally Rangers can double up in those wide areas and make it really difficult for you. They haven't managed it at all today.
10,446 inside Hampden for this end of season showpiece, the majority of them in green and white, and they are the ones who look like they're going to go home happy after yesterday's title celebrations with the men's team. The women's team are going to have some silverware to celebrate as well, by the looks of it, unless Rangers can somehow claw their way back into the game and lift themselves out of a seemingly the malaise that perhaps set in at Ibrox last weekend when they couldn't find the goals to beat Glasgow City. But here they might be in, and that's a big chance for Berry to lift it over Takenar, and she just didn't get enough elevation on the effort.
It was actually a good ball. I thought it was the wrong choice initially. I thought the ball should have come out to the wide left where Lizzie Arnott was crying out for it, but what a big chance that is for Laura Berry. Just doesn't get a great connection with it.
That was her first real sight of goal in the entire game.
Yeah, she was switched on. She certainly was alert. It was a good run. I think it was herself alongside Kirsty Howitt who was just in behind. Whether she just takes a cautious approach and tries to make sure she keeps it on target. Yeah, she just needs to get a bit more on it, a bit more lift. Certainly the goalkeeper would have been stranded, but it's an easy one in the end for Takenar.
Rangers certainly can't afford to lose another one. It's already a long way back for them. And he's closing 11.5 minutes. Just testing Takana for the first time in the game a moment ago. You'd have to imagine if they've not brought Sam Kerr on by this juncture, we're not going to see her at all.
No, you wouldn't think so, Al. You certainly wouldn't think so. Whether Malky Thompson is just giving the game up as well, and certainly looking to try and use the young players that have been there throughout the season, give them an opportunity to experience this type of occasion. I just don't think at times you can underestimate the experience as well. And a player like Nicola Docherty on the bench, natural left-sided player, someone that would go again and ask questions, give you a delivery off the left-hand side. You just don't get that from Maddie Knoll. She's a good player. She's a player that I rate really highly, but she's not a natural left-sided player.
Well, two Scotland regulars in Kerr and Docherty, left on the bench by Malky Thompson, who looks like ending his Rangers managerial career on the losing side, having guided them to their very first SWPL title last season. But it looks like we'll have to settle for just the League Cup, as Lafersky gives chase. Looked like she was in an offside position. Mason deals with it anyway. But the silverware being shared out around Glasgow, it would appear, this season. A trophy apiece for Rangers, Celtic, and of course the SWPL winners again, Glasgow City. What a dramatic final day we had. Great drama and really great exposure as well for an ever-improving Women's League and women's game up in north of the border.
Yeah, and it's a good point you make, Al, the fact that as it stands just now it looks like the silverware will be shared out. I think it shows you the strength of the three teams.
The Rangers might still have something to say about that. Not on this occasion though. Nolf out to Cornet. It's a good run from McLean, but the ball from Cornet wasn't good enough, and Jacinta back there doing the defensive duties. Rangers haven't given it up though. Cornet has it back. Can she pick out a teammate in the middle? No. Nolf looking to keep it alive. Rangers throwing bodies forward now, but still can't find a way through. You do just wonder why they didn't commit a bit further forward earlier in the game.
Yeah, I think it's that risk, isn't it? Risk v reward. Certainly when we were watching the game up here at 0-0, and we had mentioned the corners and opportunities that Celtic were creating, you would have expected Rangers to look to try and change something, just perhaps take a more aggressive and direct approach.
Here they come again, looking for a way back into the game. Really good goalkeeping by Takinar, taking the pressure off her defence with a good take. A commanding goalkeeper can make such a difference.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was. Commanding goalkeeping, keeps her eye on the ball the whole way. Just comes over the top of Caitlin Hay, I think it was. As Rangers look to push and try and get a goal back, you wouldn't be surprised if Celtic get another good opportunity at the other end, just in that counter-attack. Lafersky just isolating the two Rangers centre-backs just now.
Here's Nolf. Even a goal now would still set up a real grandstand finish for Rangers. They just haven't been able to test Pamela Takinar, the Mexican keeper, at all.
Yeah, a goal certainly would change things at this stage.
This could be a chance for Benny. She's got it back, and Rangers from out of nowhere have pulled themselves back into this Scottish Cup final And maybe, just maybe, they can find a way to force extra time. It's 2-1.
Yeah, it's a brilliant goal from the youngster. Certainly going to be marginal in terms of offside, I would need to say. It's really, really tight. It is a good run. It's a brilliant finish. And certainly VAR will look at it. It's a good move, though, from Rangers. Certainly out the blue, as you say, Al. Young Berry does well. Nice, comfortable left foot finish back across the Celtic goalkeeper, who can do nothing about it.
And it's still being looked at by VAR.
Yeah, it certainly will be tight. I always like to think you give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker, but we've seen this so many times throughout the season. So many times it looks a good goal, looks legit.
Yeah, the naked eye can be deceiving. Let's have another look.
Yeah, it's really difficult, certainly. I think it's Caitlin Hayes that's in front of her. It's going to be so tight. Just when you look at the slant in her body, she might have gone just a fraction early. It's going to be so harsh if it is offside, and if it's on, it's a brilliant goal from Rangers.
Just give them a lifeline in these closing 5 minutes or so. Marky Thompson desperately hoping. It's not going to count. It's offside, and a huge cheer from the Celtic end, because Rangers thought they had a way back into the game, and now it goes back to 2-0, and these Celtic fans now, with just 5 minutes left to play, must be hugely confident. But it's, as you say, it's so tight and so harsh, but ultimately we've got to abide by the correct call. That's what VAR's for.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, it's probably harsh as well, because without VAR today, it would have been a goal that would have stood. And I don't mean that just in the sense that you want to see the goal stand, but when you bring it in at the final stage of the competition and it's fine margins, you can look at it there on the screen, you can see how tight it is. Young Berry thinks that she's got a goal back for her side, and Fran Alonso, he celebrates it like another goal for his Celtic side. It's a huge moment in the game. And what a lifeline it would have been for Rangers had it stood. 4 minutes of regulation time to play, whatever time additionally would have been added on. They might still find time for another one, because they do look like they're certainly throwing everything at it just now.
And the lines look close to touching, in which case we know that the decision is given in favour of the attacking team. There must have just been enough daylight between those lines for the call to be made as offside. But you just have to question why Rangers didn't start pushing forward until they were two goals down.
Well, this is it. It is just those moments that you look back on. I suppose it's easy for us to sit up here, stand up here and look at the game and question that. Clearly Malky Thompson had a game plan that he felt was the right way to go about it. Celtic executed their game plan slightly quicker than Rangers did. But they do look now, Rangers, that they've got a bit more about them in the shape going forward.
There's a yellow card for time wasting there for Chloe Craig of Celtic. Celtic about to make a trio of changes in the closing minutes. Chance for some of the squad to savour a taste of the Hampden atmosphere, getting onto the pitch. As Liv Ferguson, Claire Goldie and Tegan Bowie get the chance to come on.
It's a good opportunity for Fran Alonso just to freshen things up, wind the time down as well. In a big second half performance from his group. I always think it's important in occasions like this, if you can utilise the squad and make every player that you can use feel part of it. It does make a difference to the group, especially the last game of the season.
Confirmation then of the changes as Flint, Jacinta and Menglu make way for those three substitutes. Dying seconds now of the game, which looks increasingly like concluding with a Celtic victory. Surely no way, no time for Rangers to get 2 goals back now.
No, you wouldn't think so, not at this late stage of the game. Maybe one at a push, certainly. You would always expect it to be one big chance towards the end of the game, whether it comes for Rangers or Celtic.
Five minutes are going to be added on as Rangers push once more to get a goal back, which they thought they had a moment ago, only to be dealt a blow from the VAR officials, and the lines were drawn and the goal was chopped off for offside. And here's Laferski with a turn of pace again. Cathy Hill trying to live with her. She does get the shot in, Laferski, but couldn't get any power or real accuracy on it. An easy take for Essen.
Confirmation of the 5 minutes, Al, that you suggested would be added on.
Laferski, no flag, bearing down on goal, curling it wide, and then the flag goes up.
I think that those are the types of moments, Al, that we question why the assistant referee doesn't flag. Very obvious, very clear. No other players around Laferski. Should have gone 5 or 6 yards too soon.
Celtic looking to put a bit of shine on the victory with a third goal. And now just heading to the corner flag. McLaughlin winning it back for Rangers. And as time continues to drift away from Malky Thompson's side. Undoubtedly, these two sides will be back at it next season, challenging for the trophies once more, looking to wrestle the title away from Glasgow City again. But this afternoon, it's going to be a Scottish Cup victory for Fran Alonso to savour for the second successive year. It took extra time last season against Glasgow City at Tynecastle, but they're going to see this one out. Yeah, with just a couple of minutes left to play, who are you thinking of as your player of the match this afternoon? I guess someone in green and white.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's probably been a difficult one in the sense that I think the full Celtic team has played really well as a unit together. I think they've created moments, albeit not the individual performances that we might have seen from the likes of Jacinta, certainly, who was probably a quieter version of herself. But a player for me today, I think Clara Riordan has been really good. She grabs that all-important second goal as well, which I think kills the game. But defensively, she's been spot on as well. She really nullified the threat of Brogan Hay in the early parts of the game as well. And along with Chloe Craig, Caitlin Hayes and Kelly Clark, and the goalkeeper, as we've mentioned this afternoon, she's been very good. So Clara Riordan will be today's player of the match for me.
There she is, Clara Riordan. And grabbed her 4th Scottish Cup goal of the season. Club's top scorer in the tournament with that second goal of the game. For Rangers, the season really does end in bitter disappointment. Losing out in the title on the final day of the league season and losing out at Hampden in the Scottish Cup final, and really not showing their best selves, you would have to say, this afternoon, as they look for what would surely only be a consolation now in the final seconds of added on time. Nolf will go for goal, big deflection into the arms of Takana, and that will be just about that. There it is, confirmation that Celtic hold on to the Scottish Cup. Fran Alonso, their Spanish manager, celebrates with Tash Flint, who opened the scoring. And the celebrations can begin again. It's been quite the weekend for Celtic. And the women's team add to the glory. Clara Riordan got the second goal to really make absolutely sure of a victory, which I think most observers would agree was a deserved one over the piece. Rangers really failing to trouble Celtic until they were 2 behind, and even then when they scored it was chopped off by an offside decision given by VAR. It was a marginal one, but there was no way back into the game for Rangers, and so it's these Celtic fans who've come along to Hampden who will celebrate this evening. Fran Alonso and his players exchange hugs as the delight on their faces tells its story.
Yes.
So it's finished at Hampden this afternoon. The cup holders and champions against Celtic 2, Rangers 0.
So Celtic holding on to the Scottish Cup then. Flint and Riordan with the goals in the second half, and you can see the contrasting emotions, can't you, there from the Rangers and the Celtic fans. Fran Alonso and Caitlin Hay just enjoying a little bit of an embrace there. It means so much to them. And in the end, Rachel, were Celtic deserved winners, do you think?
I think so. We knew set pieces would be the way that they might end up winning the game. They're so dangerous from them. It was 2 fantastic deliveries, and you know, the first one you can't leave Tash Flint free in the box, and the second one is just a great ball and a great header. I thought overall Celtic weren't troubled. I think the goals sparked Rangers into a little bit more intensity, but yeah, I think, you know, Celtic probably over the course of it deserved it.
Did Celtic maybe show more character, a bit more fight today, Julie, do you think, bouncing back from that disappointment?
I think they were definitely the better team over the 90 minutes. I think, as Rachel said, we saw a lot more from Rangers when they went goals behind, but for me, you can't deny Celtic the trophy. I think they gave absolutely everything. They're so dangerous from set plays. They managed to win themselves a good number of corners, free kicks. We knew that was their biggest threat, and 2-0 winners, you really can't deny them the trophy.
Tasha Flint has become a real fans' favourite because of her goal-scoring exploits, and obviously today, and the fans lapping up the applause there.
Yeah, I think, you know, for her, as much as the fans love her, I think she's come to the club and felt they've really embraced it, and she's loved it. And she's someone who I think when she's feeling good, you get the best out of her. And today again, you know, she probably had to drop deeper and play that role and do a little bit more of the groundwork to kind of create opportunities, which maybe isn't her natural instinct. But when the ball did land to her in the box, she's going to finish it, and she did that.
Well, let's find out how Celtic are reacting to this one. All smiles, I am sure. Claire O'Riordan got the second goal of the afternoon to seal the win for Celtic. She's talking to Amy.
Claire, can you sum up your emotions right now?
Very difficult, but I'm just proud. I'm proud of the whole squad, the coaching staff, of what we've been able to come here today to do. And yeah, we worked really hard for it, and I'm just very humbled. It's a special occasion, playing in a national stadium here in Scotland, and the fans, they love it. We love it.
You've been on the score sheet in recent weeks, again today. Talk us through your goal.
Well, to be fair, credit to Jazz. She's been doing it all season. She's done it for myself a couple of times, you know. It's all about the perfect ball, perfect run, being in the right place at the right time, and you know, I've had a few of those same sort of situations saved, but thankfully it went into the back of the net today.
And what does it mean in front of these fans? Talk us through what it means to the players.
Yeah, especially in the last couple of weeks, we've seen the crowd behind us massively in Celtic Park, and the energy that they bring to us, and really it's about them, and what we've come here to do today is to be able to reward them with another trophy for the club. I love it. It's amazing. I think Tash loves it too. The crowd,
yeah, of course,
the fans, they're amazing. So yeah, we're just thoroughly proud and enjoying this moment.
Rightly so. Tash, congratulations. We spoke during the midweek how much you love scoring on these big occasions. You were making sure you were scoring today, weren't you?
Yeah, like I said, it's always good to get on the score sheet, but such an important game today. I've got all my family in the crowd, around 20 of them that's come up here. Joe, you know, it's brilliant. All the girls deserve it. We deserve this win.
What did the manager say at half-time? Because it was a cagey first half, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. It was positive. He's always positive. He gives us all the belief that we need. He did say he thinks we can touch it up a couple more gears, because we was going through the motions. We had more gears in us, and that's what we done second half. We give a little bit more what we needed to do, and we come out with a 2-0 win.
Claire was just talking about the fans. You love the fans as well since coming up earlier on this calendar year. They are emulating your celebration. How pleasing is it that you managed to give it to them today?
I can't even describe. I don't even know what words to say about the fans. Honestly, they're unbelievable. Before coming here, I didn't know there was a team like it. I really didn't. And the fans, honestly, they're ridiculous. They show up week in, week out for us. They did last week. They did the week before. They did today. And you know, we couldn't do it without the fans.
Right, you go and enjoy getting in and amongst these celebrations.
Yeah, and don't they deserve to be among those celebrations? Absolutely brilliant scenes. Really interesting to hear from Natasha. Obviously, 20 of her family members are here. The emotion of the occasion, it certainly didn't get to her, but she's very aware of it, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean, you can see with the way she was celebrating when she scored, the way she was kind of using the fans to cheer up the rest of the team. She's a big game player. She's a player that the rest of the team look to in these moments. She loves it. I mean, it's a special club. You can see the fans that have came out in force, and it's been wonderful to see, not just today but over the last month or so, the fans turning up and really supporting their team. Same for Rangers, and it just shows you the growth in the women's game. And we need players like Natasha Flint. We need these strong players, good characters in our game, and I'm quite sure she'll only have good things to say about the Scottish League since arriving.
Yeah, absolutely. She's certainly talking up the game up here, isn't she? Rachel, from a Celtic point of view, how vital was it that they won some silverware this season?
Well, I think it's just a nice end for their season, because they've probably been the strongest team over the last few weeks, and they've really finished it strongly. They got the Champions League spot, which I think is vital. It's obviously the competition that everyone wants to be part of, but to not win a trophy would have felt a little bit disappointing. Now they can say they've done that. Contrasting fortunes. We can see Malky Thompson, the Rangers manager, talking to his players. I mean, that's going to be a sore conversation to hear, isn't it, Julia? I wonder, what, if you're a Rangers player, what you want to be hearing from that conversation.
I think it's a shame that his kind of role within Rangers is going to end that way with the girls' team. I'm sure the players would have loved to have won a trophy for him, but no one likes to be in the losing side. Rangers, though, they can hold their heads high. I mean, none of the clubs are going to be thinking this way, but we've had Glasgow City, Rangers and Celtic who have had a tremendous season, and to have them all pick up a bit of silverware, they deserve it. They absolutely do. And I think Obviously Rangers wouldn't be thinking that going into the game this afternoon, but I think all three of those teams have been so strong. They've pulled our game on so much this year, and they deserve the share of the silverware.
Will it be, maybe Rangers see it as a little bit of a disappointing season though, Rachel, from the point of view that, you know, we talk about that they have the biggest budget in the women's game in Scotland. They've obviously lost the title. They've lost out in the Champions League places as well.
Yeah, and I think that's something for the club. You know, they've invested so much. They've tried to give it the absolute best, and they've probably been the first one to do it to that level. And because of that, they're going to have to reflect on it and maybe look at where they can do a little better. I think overall, yeah, this will probably sum up the season. It's been disappointing. They obviously got the first trophy in their hands, and since then they've just not done enough. And I think both City and Celtic have taken another step, and they just haven't been able to keep up.
Well, there's Rod Petrie, the SFA president, with the trophy there, making its way to the plinth. The medals alongside them too, and the Celtic players will be handed that trophy very, very shortly indeed. Obviously, the Rangers players will be getting their runners-up medals. There's Cathy Hill just leading the players there, and this is obviously it's not a nice moment for them, but I guess, you know, it's a cliche to say, but they will look back and they'll remember they were in a final.
Yeah, they were. You don't want to be walking up first, you don't want to be that team, but they've offered so much, not just to the competition, but to this afternoon's game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the runners-up getting their runners-up medals on what was a disappointing day from a Rangers point of view. They ran out 2-0 losers here at Hampden, the National Stadium, for the Scottish Cup final. Let's get back to our commentary team of Al Salamat and Leanne Crichton, who can talk us through the rest of the trophy presentation.
Thanks again, Jane. Yeah, SFA President Rod Petrie handing out the runners-up medals. Some disappointed faces there, clearly in blue. They just didn't produce the performance they'd hoped to. And Sam Kerr there, a notable absence, really, immediately taken off the runners-up medal as she walks away. But Rangers will look to bounce back after a week of serious disappointment at the end of this season that promised so much, but losing their SWPL title and now losing out in the final of the Scottish Cup, unable to add to the League Cup they won earlier in the season. And there Malky Thompson marking his final game in charge before he goes back into Rangers Academy. Not in the manner that he wanted to, but he will be remembered as the Rangers manager who guided them to a first ever league title last time out. And now the ever popular officials will come up and get their mementos of the day. David Munro will lead the officials up, and wasn't too much controversy in the game. I suppose the Rangers goal that was initially awarded and then chopped off by the VAR, the only reasonably contentious decision, but the lines did show that there was a slight gap between them, and therefore offside was given against Laura Berry, and there was no way back into the game for Rangers. So now it will turn to the winners, and Fran Alonso's Celtic side step up for the second season in a row to lift the Scottish Cup, led by Tash Flint, who got that all-important breakthrough. And Leanne, I think we can agree that it is a deserving Celtic squad who step up to lift the trophy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think performance-wise today, it might not have quite hit the heights of performances that we've seen throughout the season, but it was a game that, in my opinion, they controlled from start to finish. They certainly asked more questions than their counterparts Rangers. They took the opportunities when they presented themselves, and they've been a really strong group, the Celtic side, throughout the season. And it always is a perfect end to the season, regardless of their disappointment last week in missing out on that league title. I think to secure Champions League and to round things off with a Scottish Cup final at the National Stadium really is a perfect send-off. I'm sure it'll be an afternoon stroke evening that they'll enjoy.
I think you can bet on that. Just a minute or two away from what would have been a double had they been able to clinch the league title last week. But that late Lauren Davison goal at Ibrox for Glasgow City eventually meaning that Celtic were pipped to the title. But that disappointment is forgotten this afternoon. Fran Alonso, who was in tears at the end of that game last weekend, will be tears of joy, no doubt, as he gets his second Scottish Cup medal. You can be sure he has enjoyed himself. Great character in the Scottish game, and it will be Kelly Clark who steps up here to receive that beautiful new trophy from the SFA president Rod Petrie, and she will lift it aloft momentarily as Celtic celebrations continue. Celtic are Scottish Cup winners in 2023. Joyous scenes in green and white. And Hampden resonates to the sound of Celtic celebrations once more. A fabulous afternoon for Fran Alonso and his side, and they will party, you can be sure, long into the evening. What a moment for these players to be able to enjoy not only Scottish Cup glory, but at the National Stadium for the first time, the rightful place for the Scottish Cup. And terrific afternoon comes to a close for Celtic. Rangers will go off and lick their wounds, but it's Celtic who are deserved winners of the trophy for the second time in a couple of years. And just a reminder, it finished at the National Stadium this afternoon. Celtic 2, Rangers 0.
Oh, brilliant celebratory scenes there from a Rangers Celtic point of view. The Celtic players are enjoying themselves in that golden whatever it is streamers there. How will they be feeling, Julie? What will be going through their minds right now, those players?
These are the moments as a player that you cherish. These are the ones that you look back on at the end of your career, and they work so hard to get to this stage every day in training. The sacrifices that these players make, and these are the moments that they have to make sure that they really look after and they park them in their memories, because sharing it with their teammates, sharing it with their family, and you can see just now they're sharing it with their fans.